Hello, Durud and Shalom. How's everyone doing? I see the chat is already busy. Thank you for being here. Make sure you like the stream. Today, I'm going to try to pay close attention to what you guys are saying because I want to know what your opinion is. Because right now in Israel, there's a huge disagreement over this. This is now pretty obvious that this is a huge disagreement because last time I checked, the polls actually suggest that maybe more Israelis disagree with me on this. Uh, I don't know what you guys think in the chat because I think I agree with your government that the ceasefire is a horrible idea right now with Hamas, and I will give you all the reasons. But I do want to pay attention to the chat to see what you guys are thinking. Let me see who's in the chat. I see Geller, Omer is here. I see. Oh my God, the names are weird now. Carmen is here. Jack is here. Nail Bunny is here. Flying Robot Duck is here. Juris is here. Well, thank you guys for being here. Angry Keyboard Warrior is here. Okay, I don't even know what was your previous username. Ginga is here. LF, what was your previous username? I don't know what it was before. Hi guys. Yes. Okay, guys. If you're from Israel, please let me know. Oh yeah, Jono, you're here as well. Amikai is here. Guys, guys, can you let me know in the chat if you're from Israel because we're going to discuss this. This is our topic today. What do you guys what side are you on? Do you want a ceasefire for the sake of releasing the hostages, and do you think that the war is continuing for too long, and then we need to end it, or you're one of those Israelis that thinks no, we need to continue fighting until Hamas is no more? I am from India. Well, welcome for being here. From Israel here. Yes. Good. Okay. I will give you, let me see how many reasons I have. I have a lot of reasons for why a ceasefire is such a horrible idea. And I'm going to say a couple of things during this live stream that a lot of you are not going to like. Some really hard to accept realities that we have to choose between multiple horrible options. My understanding, based on listening to a lot of Israelis, is that the main reason why some Israelis are pushing for ceasefire, and right now in Israel there are protests, there are even many military officials that are pushing the government, trying to get the government to stop the war. There are even some people from Israel that are trying to contact Trump, trying to get Trump to get Netanyahu to stop the war. There's a lot of forces coming together trying to, and again, but Netanyahu is not only is he not going for a ceasefire, he's doubling down. He wants to capture all of Gaza, including the places that he hasn't that Israel hasn't controlled before, basically taking everything. I'm not saying you guys seem to be waiting for me to respond. You guys don't seem to have your own opinions in the chat. Let me see. Jack is saying in Nordic countries, the media seems to suggest people who oppose a ceasefire are Christian Zionists. Well, that's crazy. Yeah, I mean, Nordic countries, media has gone is a little bit cuckoo when it comes to, yeah, like I do not, the bias there is quite obvious. All right, let me just go over. Given that you guys are not giving me your opinions and you're just waiting for me to say my opinion, I'll just go over it myself. Okay. So for the first reason, and again, this is not just the only one, but the first reason, and I hope you guys don't hate me for saying this, okay? Because the conclusion that I'm going to make from this is going to be a really hard to swallow pill for after I say this, right? Let me explain. Let me actually walk you through it. In my previous shows, I explained to you guys that Hamas, from their perspective, just try to put yourself in Hamas's shoes, okay? I always told you I don't understand why Hamas would ever, for their own survival's sake, release all the hostages. Think about it. And if they release all the hostages, what would be the barrier between them and the IDF and Israel just basically coming in and absolutely destroying them. A lot of people criticize Israel for not finishing the job with Hamas, even though, in my opinion, Israel has done unbelievably amazing with Hamas. The amount of the amount of success they had with Hamas in under 2 years has been extraordinary. People who wanted this to happen faster don't understand how anything about urban warfare. So, given how many of the main leaders of Hamas are gone now, Israel has performed really well against Hamas. But people's expectations are too high for Israel, because Israel performs so well that when Israel performs so well, it becomes a victim of its own success, because the expectations are so high that people are like, oh, why is Hamas still here after 2 years? Are you serious? Like, do you guys understand that how the amount of success they have had against Hamas is unbelievably high in such a short amount of time? Like, if anybody studies the history of warfare, they will realize that that's an insane ask, and Israel has performed very well. But one reason why Hamas is still in power, right, is because of the hostages. The hostages makes it very, very complicated for Israel to just finish the job with Hamas. It makes it very complicated, right? And if the hostages were not there, Israel would have done a lot more when it comes to eliminating Hamas in more places that it could find. Many places, many times it has to avoid doing certain things that could potentially put the hostages at risk. But you understand that Hamas, if you have a ceasefire agreement with Hamas, that, hey, you release the remaining hostages, and then Israel will do this, and that, including leaving you alone and not annihilating you, right? Do you understand? Once the hostages are free, the piece of paper that has been signed is not going to hold Israel back. It shouldn't hold Israel back. I mean, an agreement with the people who committed the genocidal act of October 7th, and now the last barrier between you and them has been removed, and you could go and end these evil, again, I'm trying not to swear so that YouTube doesn't punish me, but once the last barrier is removed, you are going to tell me that Israel is going to not go after every single one of them because Hamas is going to hold a piece of paper like, hey, I know I came and killed so many of your citizens and civilians, but look at this paper that we signed. Please don't come and annihilate me. Obviously, Israel would not do that. Israel should not do that. Israel, when there is no hostages, Israel should feel free to just go do whatever it wants with Hamas. And again, Hamas knows that. Hamas knows a ceasefire is not going to hold Israel back, a ceasefire agreement. And it shouldn't. And because Hamas knows that, Hamas would be insane to release all the hostages, because that would be the end of them. And again, that's why I disagree with people. You know, a lot of people who want to defend Israel, they come and say like, "Hey, why don't you? Don't blame Israel. Blame Hamas. Hamas could end the war by releasing all the hostages." A lot of people say that in defense of Israel. That is not a good defense of Israel, because if Hamas releases all the hostages, that shouldn't be the end of the war. That should be the beginning of the main operations, because there's nothing left between you and the people who did October 7th. And because Hamas knows that, this is the hard part for me that I have to tell you guys. It's very unlikely for Hamas to release the hostages, the remaining ones. And no ceasefire is going to bring them home. Right? And no ceasefire agreement. There is a lot of people in Israel are protesting, oh, do a ceasefire so Hamas releases the hostages. I don't understand. Israelis who say that, they haven't yet learned from their own history. I'm sorry to say that to Israelis. If you're saying that, you haven't discovered the nature of the enemy that you're fighting. And it's really important that you understand the nature of the enemy that you're fighting, because your survival depends on it, because you are in a democracy. You live in a country that is democratic, and your views impact could actually pressure your government. So in democracies, it's important in countries that are democratic, it's important that people have the correct information, because you have so much political power as citizens of a democracy. So your lack of awareness of how Hamas, who your enemy is exactly, how they operate, is going to cost you potentially another October 7th. I know you're desperate, justifiably desperate, to bring the hostages home, but your view on how that should happen is going to eventually get more hostages, give more hostages to Hamas or something like Hamas. Oh yeah, so somebody, Yasha, is saying, Armin, I just wrote that above. It's very obvious that the hostages won't be freed by Hamas. The hostages have to be freed by IDF. There is practically no other way, as risky as it is. You read my mind, because the next thing I was going to say is that the only way to release the hostages is very likely going to get the hostages killed. This is the hard reality that you have to understand, okay? The only way to get the remaining hostages freed is very likely going to get them killed. Because the only way to actually get them freed is not a ceasefire agreement, because they're not going to free them. The only way to actually get them freed is to just go get full control of the area and just go in every place in Gaza, even the places that you haven't been, and just control the entire area and fight Hamas to the very end and release the hostages that way. But unfortunately, when you do that, Hamas is very likely going to take out the hostages before Israel gets them freed. Unfortunately, they're probably going to die unless Israel pulls off something that is unbelievably, I don't know, miraculous. Yeah, Jewish Samantha saying, I threw up the first time I watched the video of the 24-year-old Eviatar David digging his own grave. Yeah, you have a Jewish Samantha, you have a very big heart. This is the hard part that you need to understand. Okay, the ceasefire is not going to get them freed. What is going to get them freed, potentially going to get them freed, is probably not going to get them freed. It's going to kill them. But there is no other way, because that's the only chance that they have. It's a very low chance, but it's a high. Even though it's a low chance, it's a higher chance than a ceasefire agreement. Somebody saying some Israelis propose to just keep Gazans in an area, not fight them, no one leaving. Okay, that's a perfect recipe for another October 7th. I mean, we had that before October 7th, and look what happened. So Jack is saying this line of reasoning applies only for freeing all hostages. Isn't it possible to free one or two hostages with a ceasefire? So Israel, your government has pushed with these types of ceasefire and agreements. They did everything they could to get everybody that they thought that they could out. Like they kept on pushing, they kept on playing this game to see how much they could push to get so much out until they hit a wall where Gaza understands, where Hamas understands that, okay, that's it. Like we cannot do this anymore. We have to keep some, right? So correct me if I'm like, guys, with the numbers, I think what I remember, if that's correct, is like total number of hostages left is around 50, I think, but only around half of them people think are alive, or just around 20 of them people think are still alive. So I'm thinking there's 20 left. And if it's 20 left, then yeah, Israel, Hamas is not going to release another one or two. You're getting too close for Hamas to basically not having enough leverage anymore. So what you're suggesting, Jack, has been Israel's policy, and now they're hitting a wall. They're getting to a point right now where Hamas is asking. Here's the next point, actually, that I want to make. Right, we know that Hamas has gotten to a point where they do not want to release any more hostages, because now what they're asking, that their terms, their conditions for a ceasefire, is obviously ridiculous. Like, they are asking for things so ridiculous on purpose, signaling that they're not even trying for a ceasefire. What they're asking is so ridiculous that the Egyptians didn't even pass some of them through to the Israelis. They just basically told the Hamas people that, yeah, this is obviously, we're not going to pass this through. What the hell? And one of the reasons why the conditions for a ceasefire that they're asking is so ridiculous, to the point that it suggests that they don't want a ceasefire, because they're asking for things that they know Israel will not agree to, is because the Islamic Republic is now getting more involved in getting Hamas to make sure there's no ceasefire, right? I think about this. Given that everything shows that the Islamic Republic is pushing Hamas to ask for conditions for ceasefire that forces the other side to not be able to accept it, then think about the Israelis who are asking their government now to accept those terms. You're asking your government to accept ceasefire conditions that Hamas itself believes to be too ridiculous for Israel to accept, because they don't want a ceasefire. They don't want to release the hostages. So what do you imagine? You are being more unreasonable. Like, you don't understand. You shouldn't be doing that. I'm trying to not use words that are insulting. Okay. So I'm trying to be careful with my words, because I know how hard you're having it. So I want to make sure that I don't use words that might be perceived as me, as a foreigner who's not Israeli, basically telling you what you're supposed to do. Okay. I'm not Israeli, but I understand Hamas. Okay. I understand Hamas, and I understand the Islamic Republic. And I'm saying, I know I'm not Israeli, and you might think that, who are you to tell us that we're being unreasonable? Well, I'm not Israeli, but I could tell you, what I can tell you is that what Hamas is asking, the only conditions for a ceasefire that Hamas would accept are terms that Hamas doesn't even believe that even Hamas would think it's unreasonable for Israel to accept. Under the direction of the Islamic Republic, that's what they're doing right now. Let me see what Shauna is saying in the chat. Shauna, thank you so much for the super chat. Shauna is saying, oh, by the way, guys, becoming members and also using super chats to support the channel are a really good way to support this channel. And I will read super chats if we do get anyone, right? If we do get any. So Shauna is saying the other issue is that it's not just Hamas. Okay, Hamas for YouTube sakes, right? Yeah. It's also the citizens that live in that area. Yeah, it's the entire ideology that many citizens have, and also what is Hamas and who is Hamas. It's not very black and white. Many people are not members of Hamas, but they have Hamas ideology. So they're kind of there's no definition. There's no definition for who is Hamas. Technically, You could call anybody that agrees with Hamas or what they're doing Hamas. So it's really difficult to separate the people from Hamas because there are many overlaps. And yeah, and that's a major issue. Yeah, thank you, Sharna. Yeah, hold on. Well, then Shauna, the word that you're using, I'm not gonna YouTube. If I read that word, YouTube might think that I'm dehumanizing, and then I might it might trigger something. So I have to be careful with YouTube's algorithm. Let me see. Yeah. So first point is that from Hamas's point of view, releasing the hostages is equal to signing their own death warrant. If basically if they have zero hostages, Israel has zero incentive to stop. And and also Israel's government understood that at some point, if they keep doing this dance with Hamas, they're going to get to a point where Hamas is going to hold to its hostages and not release anymore. And they were always waiting for that to go all in. So this is a strategy that we actually discussed a year ago. This is actually what I said needs to happen a year ago. I said Israel should keep pushing for hostages to get released, and then at some point Hamas is going to not release any hostages, because if it does release any more hostages, it knows that it will be so easy for Israel to come and finish the job. And once we get to the point where Israel realizes that it cannot release any more hostages, that's the point where it needs to go all into Gaza. And it's interesting because that's exactly what's happening right now. That's exactly what your government is doing. And it's weird that this strategy makes so much sense. And it's not just many average citizens that are disagreeing with the strategy. It's the most logical strategy. But I'm seeing so many military officials now coming and stepping in and are taking a position against the strategy as well. It makes absolutely no sense. Oh, Shauna, thank you so much for another super chat. Shauna saying, feel free to censor as needed. I understand. I'm not offended, but I will use that word in the chat. Okay, yeah, you go ahead. I just have to make sure. I just have to make sure that I protect this channel. And thank you for understanding. And thank you for the super chats. Oh, by the way, thank you for Iranians in the chat. I know I see Mohsen is here and some other Iranians in the chat coming here and saying supporting Israel. Mohsen, you're amazing. Except this Ali guy, he's here saying Islam is the eternal truth. Sure, buddy. Sure. Sure. Okay. Yes. Oh, Seth is here. I'm Israel Kai. Oh, yeah. So Jack is saying, by the way, the previous stream had a super chat that I missed. Can you reply to it so the person doesn't feel they wasted their money? Can you write it down, Jack? Because I know I was at the end of the stream and I already had the end stream and that super chat came in. Wait, there's Ahmed here. Is there Ahmed here? Was it Ahmed? Ahmed said something sweet. I didn't see it. Okay, yeah, Jack. If you see it, if I'll try to keep an eye. And by the way, the video that we saw from Eviatar, that is backfiring right now for Hamas because it knows that it's not going to be releasing any more hostages. They released that video. They released that video just so that they could get more Israelis to push back against their government so that they could get a ceasefire. But now the government is actually, after seeing that video and how horrible it is, they are they they force the hand of the government because they don't want their people to constantly think that the government is not doing enough to free the hostages. So basically, what Hamas did is force the hand of the government to just do the only remaining thing they can do to release all the hostages, which means go all in and just take over the entire area. Okay, so we have the super chat that I missed from last time. Okay, it's from Diamond Encrusted Abdullah again, and he said, Baal is Yahweh, the God of the Jews. Thank you, Jack, for saving that super chat. But thank you, Diamond Encrusted Warrior, for supporting this channel. But all your weird super chats. And by the way, guys, the fact that the Islamic Republic still has this much influence on Hamas shows how important it is for Israel to actually finish the job in Iran. Finishing the job in Iran is the only way to finish the job in Gaza. It's not that the Islamic Republic just funded October 7th and that's why you're dealing with all of this mess. It's also right now Islamic Republic is directing and giving orders to Hamas regarding how to get involved, how to deal with the ceasefire situation, how to negotiate, what to ask for. I mean, the connection is still there. It wasn't like they supported them and then they're not out there. I mean, Arakchi, which is the foreign minister of the Islamic Republic, even admitted that they're currently continuing to support Hamas. And now we have information that the way Hamas is doing the negotiations regarding a ceasefire with Israel, it's being directed by the Islamic Republic. So, I mean, a lot of Israelis think that Netanyahu is continuing the war in Gaza and maybe wants to start another war with the Islamic Republic to save his own ass from the corruption cases that he has to deal with. I'm not here to say if that's true or not. I'm here to say it doesn't matter. This is still the right strategy. Like, whatever his motivations are, I know you guys from Israel disagree regarding his motivations. It doesn't make whatever his motivations are, this is the right thing to do. Yeah, some people are saying that's not true. Two people right after each other. One says that's not true. The other one right below him said that's absolutely true. Look, right after each other. Oh, so look, that's not true. That's absolutely true. Okay. But here's the thing. It doesn't, let's say that that's why he's doing it. Even if you remove Netanyahu and put somebody else as prime minister in Israel, continuing the elimination of Hamas and saying no to any form of ceasefire until Hamas is gone, until Hamas cannot do anything like October 7th ever again and cannot recover to do anything like October 7th ever again, you should continue doing what you're doing. And 2 points regarding this. One, some people might say that, well, Hamas right now cannot do October 7th. So and we have already gotten Hamas to the point where it cannot do October 7th. Okay. And that is true. However, if you do a ceasefire and you get out of there, they will be able to recover. There are more than enough people in Gaza to replace and train the people they have lost. There's more than enough. More than enough. Right now, are in a situation. It's true. Right now, they have received so much of a heavy blow, and they are not in a position to do anything like October 7th, right? But get out of there, do a ceasefire, get out of there, and give them a few years. They will get there again. They will get there again. So a ceasefire is a betrayal of Israeli people. Let me see. So the Islamic Republic is controlling Hamas and pushing to prevent a ceasefire. Hamas is not operating independently. It's guided by the Islamic Republic, specifically by the IRGC. Oh, yeah, that's another point I wanted to make. That the Islamic Republic has lost a lot of its leverage because many of its proxies have been completely decimated. I mean, not completely, but to the point of complete. They have been decapitated. I can tell you that, right? And it needs to, for its survival, it needs to, whatever is left, it needs to use it as pressure, as a deterrence capability. So, for example, as demonstrating the deterrence capability as points of pressure. And Hamas is one of the few, the remaining, whatever is left of Hamas is one of their few leverages that they have. So they want to keep that. They want to keep, right, especially right now when international pressure is getting stronger and stronger against Islamic Republic to the point that they might collapse. They need to use whatever proxies that they have left, and that's why they are back in. They're increasing the amount of maneuvers they could make with whatever is left off of Hezbollah, Hamas, Kataeb, Hashishabi, and all of it. They're doing so many trips. They're going in and out. They're contacting them. They're desperate to make sure to, because they're waiting for another Israeli attack, and they want to make sure that when Israel attacks next time, they make sure that all the other fronts that Israel needs to be defending become as active as possible. That's what they want. So a ceasefire is basically a big no for the Islamic Republic. And that's why they're not going to let Hamas do a ceasefire. And that's why it's unreasonable for you guys to try to pressure your government to do a ceasefire, especially given that Hamas doesn't want a ceasefire. So somebody's saying, Armin, what you're saying is to kill everyone. No, what the hell? Why am I'm not saying that. I don't know how you got to that point. Oh, Mohsen is saying greetings from Tehran to all Israelis and other dear friends. Thank you, Mohsen, for being here and saying that to people here. Guys, you got greetings from Tehran. So here's another hard truth that everybody here needs to understand is that, okay, Armin, let's say we go into Gaza and we start attacking Hamas, and we try to end it and finish the job. We try to destroy, basically weaken Hamas, not the ideology, but at least because the ideology will survive, at least their ability to do anything like October 7th, their military capability, to the point that they cannot control Gaza anymore, and to the point that they cannot do any more military attacks against the Israelis, right? Not the ideology. The ideology is something that we have to deal with for many, many years. But their military completely destroyed their military capabilities and their governing capabilities in Gaza. That's what mission accomplished looks like. Mission accomplished is not like there is no Hamas, because there's somebody somewhere that is going to be like, well, I'm still Hamas. I believe in that shit. So I'm Hamas, right? So completely destroying Hamas, what I mean is destroying their military capability and their governing capabilities. That's what I mean. And you might ask me, okay, how long would that take? And here's the answer that you might not like. It will take a long time, potentially years, potentially many years, right? And this is what I'm afraid that the Israeli public might not be willing to tolerate right now. What we're looking at is taking over Gaza, keeping it, and dealing with a population that is more radical right now than the last time you left it. And that comes with a huge monetary, like both huge costs, both in terms of lives and money. We're talking about putting Israeli soldiers and reserves in Gaza for a very long period, with people there constantly many people there constantly wanting to kill IDF soldiers, and you having to stay there and paying billions of dollars for a long time, staying in Gaza. And that's going to cost IDF soldiers' lives. That's going to cost you a lot of money. And that's also going to cost the government a lot of political capital, because right now many Israelis are upset with the government for why why is Hamas still hasn't been ended, why is Hamas still hasn't been defeated. So imagine if we are still doing this 3 years from now, which is something that is, I think, it wouldn't be a surprise if it takes 3, 5, or even longer. But imagine at that time how tired the Israeli people are going to be with the government regarding why you haven't yet finished the job. And I think it's going to actually take that long. So I don't know how we could advertise to the Israeli public, to Israeli people, that this is what it's going to take, or else just watch your enemies regrow, and then you have to go through this again, over and over and over again. So Jack is saying that plan is good, but will Israel be able to manage? Will Israel manage to handle will be able to manage or handle Europe's and post-Trump America's likely opposition to this? Well, only if the Islamic Republic is gone by then. This is why the reason why Israel requires a lot of the support of Western powers is mostly for its survival, and its survival against the Islamic Republic, right? So this is why Israel needs to also fight another war with the Islamic Republic to topple the regime, because if the Islamic Republic is toppled, if Israel manages to help the Iranian people do a regime change in Iran, then losing that support from Europe and United States will become less of a concern compared to before. Because the reason why Israel needs to work so hard to keep the support of some people within Europe and United States is because they rely on their support against the threat that is the Islamic Republic. But without the Islamic Republic, Israel requires less of their support. I mean, it's good to keep having their support. It's good. I mean, you're still going to have trade with them. You're still going to have other exchanges with them, but it's not going to be their support is losing their support is not going to be an existential threat to Israel anymore. So that's why Israel needs to hurry, because here's the thing: whatever you do in Gaza, you're losing support internationally anyways, really fast, unfortunately, right? So, and we need to, that's why Israel needs to finish the job with the Islamic Republic, so that losing that support becomes irrelevant. Like, well, not completely irrelevant, but less relevant to Israel's survival. And in fact, if Israel manages to get friends in the region, that would be more important eventually than losing because the friends that Israel is going to lose in Europe, they're not going to attack you. Like, France is not going to come and militarily attack Israel. Canada is not going to come militarily attack Israel, right? So losing some of their support in exchange of making friends around you, that is cost benefit analysis to that. I think the benefits outweigh the cost by so much. I mean, if you have an Iran that is friendly to Israel, and you have the Abrahamic Accords finally happening, and I know a lot of people think the Abrahamic Accord is not going to take place given the situation in Gaza, right? And the situation in Gaza is threatening the Abrahamic Accord, and Saudi Arabia is not going to be able to agree to normalize relationship with Israel given what's happening in Gaza. But the truth is that Saudi Arabia wants to normalize relationship with Israel, but it can't because of Muslims and its own people. Because Saudi Arabia's government doesn't give again, I have to make sure I don't swear. It doesn't give a crap about the people in Gaza. Like Saudi Arabia's government doesn't give a crap. It does not give a crap. In fact, it wouldn't mind if they would just vanish tomorrow so it could actually normalize relationship with Israel, right? But they have to pretend. They have to pretend like they care. So, yes, while Israel is finishing its job in Gaza, maybe the Abrahamic Accord will not be able to proceed. But as soon as Israel manages to get some control over Gaza, and it manages to control that entire area, then Saudi Arabia will jump in to use any excuse possible to go back to normalizing, especially if Iran is now friendly. Everybody, I mean, Saudi Arabia, Israel is just too good. Israel has demonstrated that when it comes to technology, industry, their economy, their trade, their strategic location, their military capabilities, even without the threat of the Islamic Republic, it just makes so much sense for these countries right now, especially with the drop in the price of oil, eventual drop in the price of oil that it will come. You need Israel, you need normalization with Israel, especially because of a lot of the economic corridors that are going to go through the Middle East, and Israel is going to be a key part of that. These people, the heads of these countries care about money more than their people. Some of their people might care about more religion, but the heads of the country care about more money more. And normalization with Israel is key, is important. So, and if Israel could, eventually we could see a situation in the Middle East where Israel has less hostile neighbors and maybe a friendly Iran, close to them, then yeah, losing popularity in Europe and North America, it would be worth the price. It's a cost that they should be willing to pay, especially because these countries are not going to get hostile to the point that they're going to cause you the risk that these other countries are causing you. Right? So let me see. We got another super chat. So I don't know what this man is trying to say. We got a super chat from India. It's saying, proof me you are atheist. Stop concerned about Hamas. Guys, can somebody translate that? Because I don't know what this means. I think this person think I am not an atheist because are you Hindu? I think he's a Hindu, and because I criticize some Hindu radicals, they're calling me fake atheist and a Muslim. I think that's what he's like. Look, he's saying it now. He's saying, look, where is this? Saying, is he praying? I don't know. I think there's some Hindus who are going around have for a couple of years trying to prove that I'm not an atheist, that I'm a secret Muslim, because only Muslims will criticize Hindu radicals. I think that might be what's happening. Yeah. But I didn't understand what your super chat is. And yeah, we got another super chat that is even crazier by Diamond and Crested Abdullah, saying, I am Jesus Christ, and I'm telling you, Israel worships a demon. Okay, he's from Andromeda star system. They just burned a cow to death for him. That makes so much sense. That makes a lot of sense. By the way, if there are any Christians in the chat, I hope you're happy. We have Jesus in what Jesus watches our live stream. You should come to our live streams more often, guys. You get to be Christians who are watching. You get to basically be watching our live stream side by side with Jesus. Guys, go advertise our channel to Christians. We're like, hey guys, did you know your Lord watches Armin's streams? Yeah, Isa is here. Yes, Stephanie. Jesus gives us a lot of super chat, and his name is Abdullah. Didn't know Jesus. I mean, that makes sense Islamically because a Muslim Abdullah means the slave of God, and many Muslims make the point that Jesus was a slave of God. Attention seeking Jesus. Oh, let me see. We got another point from Jack. Jack saying, let's assume a pessimistic scenario where toppling the Islamic Republic fails and the Islamic Republic isn't toppled but reformed. How will Israel manage with this plan? Is this in this pessimistic scenario? Will they continue? How will Israel manage? They continue until it's toppled. I mean, when has Israel left the job half done for this to be its first time? So first of all, if toppling the Islamic Republic fails, and you get basically the third republic, and you get another version of the Islamic Republic, then you just continue with the plan until it's completely toppled. Because, yeah, guys, when you have your boots on the neck of a wolf that wanted to kill you, then you don't lift your boot. I mean, as weak as it may look, you just keep pushing until it's not moving anymore, obviously. I mean, if you're fighting a dragon and then you injure it to the point where it cannot hurt you anymore, will you go away and we're like, okay, look at the dragon, it cannot hurt me anymore? Will you just leave? Do you understand that dragon can recover and come and attack you another time? If a dragon is injured and is breathing heavily on the ground and it cannot hurt you right now, you don't just go home. You pick up your sword, you get on top of it, and you push your sword into its heart. Yeah, where's Amir, guys? I miss Amir too. Yeah, there's a lot of religious people. Shout out, the religious people here are interesting. We should look at them because it shows how the level of crazy that exists around the world and on social media. All right. Let me see. I already answered this one. Zal. You have a dirty mind, Zal, in the chat. Wait, where is this? Jewish Samantha, I don't know what these numbers are. Oh, okay. 1 out of 6. Oh my god. Jewish Samantha has so many points. I'm trying to keep track of them. Okay, Jewish Samantha, you're trying to give us your point in 6 sections. I'm only seeing 3 of them. Can you make it shorter so that I could read all of them? Let me just see what the first section is. Common response people. Okay, I'm not seeing. I'm only seeing half of them. All right, let me see what. Oh yeah, Jackie saying this is a typical horror movie character mistake. They hurt the monster, don't check that it's truly dead. They leave and the monster comes back. Exactly, Jack. And that's this typical horror movie mistake is something that your government should not be doing. I mean, everybody knows that that's a typical mistake that you shouldn't be making. And the thing is that if the Islamic Republic becomes another version of the Islamic Republic that is reformed, it's actually easy to finish the job because your main allies in the situation are the Iranian people, because the Iranian people don't want that. The Iranian people are not looking for a reformed version of the Islamic Republic. So you could just keep going. And remember, if the Islamic Republic replaces itself with a reformed version, that means that they're so close to being completely destroyed that means that you probably just have to just push them a little bit and they're gone. I don't know what this person is saying in the chat. Israel is committing genociding the pagers. I mean, this is actually true. Guys, Israel is committing genocide. You're right, on pagers. I never considered it like that. Yes. Okay. Pager lives matter. You're right. I never looked at it from that angle. Yes. Pager lives matter. Save the pagers. Free the pagers. Oh, you guys are funny. Those poor damn pagers. Oh no. Yes. Pager side. Pagers. Oh, guys, you guys are amazing. Yeah. You are defending. Somebody saying you're defending genocide on pagers. Yes, PLM, pager lives matter. Oh god, that's great. Oh my god, Allah stands with pagers. Beep beep. We should make a society for this. The Pager Lives Association, something like that. PLM. Somebody saying, "Do you think Saudi likes Israel? You're brainwashed." Well, that's not how you spell your. Your brainwashed? My brainwashed? Where's my brainwashed? I mean, if you want to call me out, at least don't embarrass yourself. Learn how to spell. Israel loves. I didn't say Israel. I didn't say Saudi Arabia loves Israel. Saudi Arabia needs Israel. It's not a matter of liking like you're so childish to think that this is about loving or hating. This is about survival. Saudis are desperate for some stability around that area because their economy is so reliant on fossil fuels. If they need to focus on economy, or else their survival is at stake. Yeah. Alice is saying those pages are now shaheeds. Don't worry about them. Yes, they're with their God now. They're inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Don't cry for the pagers. They're in heaven having sex with pager virgins. Are there pager virgins in heaven? Each pager gets 72 pager version. Pager version is a word that I never thought I would ever say. And now it's too fun I cannot stop saying it. Pager version. Underage pager versions in heaven. see-through underage pager versions for every pager shaheed. God, we are having too much fun. This is too much fun. Okay. Okay, Debbie say, okay, let's get back to topic. Okay, let me actually give you. I mean, I like to have some fun with you guys in the chat because it makes stuff like this easier to talk about. So, given that Debbie wants us to get back to the topic, let me just tell you one more point before we end the stream. And guys, before I mention this last point, please make sure you like the stream. Please make sure you subscribe. And if you're new here, and if you subscribe, also hit the bell notification right next to the subscribe button, because if you don't, then YouTube might probably won't tell you that we are live. And after the show is over, also leave a comment. Oh, by the way, before I forget, we have another show coming in half an hour on my personal channel. Okay, so this is my personal channel. It's called Armin Navabi, and on that channel we don't talk politics or religion. Okay, well, don't talk politics. Sometimes we do talk religion, and we usually just talk about how to use technology and especially AI these days to improve our lives. And my stream that is starting in about half an hour is called, on my personal channel, is called Use AI to Grow When No One Knows You. So it's about how to, become more, how to sell your product, or become bigger in your business, even if you're not very famous, even if nobody knows you, how to actually use that to your advantage. A lot of people don't start advertising themselves on social media or start YouTube channels or anything, or Instagram, because they think, like, I'm a nobody knows me, nobody would buy from me. Well, on that channel, I'm going to explain to you why you could actually use that to your advantage. So if you think that's interesting, I have a stream coming up in half an hour on my personal channel. By the way, guys, this is my third live stream today, and that live stream, next one, is going to be my fourth one. Every day I do 2 Persian live streams and 2 English live streams. So one personal Persian channel, one Atheist Republic Persian channel, one Atheist Republic English channel, and one personal English channel. 4 live streams every day. Work hard. I work hard. All right. So the last point. The last point is that every single time that you lost lives because of terrorist attacks, it was made possible because of a ceasefire. Basically, past every ceasefire helped them regroup, rebuild, and reattack. Israel has agreed to ceasefire many times, and every single time it was used to regroup, rebuild weapons, rest, and prepare for the next wave of violence. Every single time. So why would you do this again? Why would you given that you've been here before and you've seen that this gives them an opportunity to get bigger and deadlier? Why would you I mean, even October 7th happened after months of relative peace, which during that time Hamas was building tunnels, stockpiling weapons, training fighters, and then that peace was what gave them the opportunity to do the worst massacre in Israel's history. And if Israelis agree to another pause now, Hamas will definitely do this again. They have said that they will do it again. They'll rearm with the help of the Islamic Republic. And then at that time, if somebody comes and blames you for pushing for a ceasefire that made you this happen, what would you say? How would you respond? If you want peace, you fight. If you want peace, you fight. Ceasefires with terrorists doesn't bring you long-lasting peace. Destroying your enemies brings you long-lasting peace. People often mistake ceasefire with peace. Ceasefire is not peace. Peace is when your enemy is not there anymore because you destroyed them. That's what peace looks like. Also, one more point is that ceasefire means that terrorism works. You're basically showing that if you want to get your way, just do as much massacre and kidnapping as possible, and that will give you leverage. Just come and kidnap Israelis. That will give you leverage. Just kidnap more. You're negotiating. I mean, we all know this. Negotiating with terrorists will just mean more terrorism. Everything you would give to Hamas over a ceasefire deal is because they kidnapped Israelis. What do you think that will signal to other terrorists? If you want to get your way, kidnap more Israelis. Terrorism works. That's a ceasefire is a signal to all the radicals out there that terrorism works. All right, so those are my two last points. And I hope you guys appreciate this live stream. And yes, free the pagers. And let me see. And please share this stream with people, especially any. I think I give you the best arguments against a ceasefire in this live stream. And especially if you know people who want a ceasefire, this stream covered a complete list of the reasons why that's a horrible idea. So please send them this stream, share the stream, and make this channel more well known. Like, recommend us to people. Tell them, like, hey, this guy is making a lot of sense. You need to come. I mean, if you disagree, tell people, like, hey, come to his live streams and ask him questions. I respond to questions, right? If you guys disagree with me, oh, so thank you. Thanks, Armin. We appreciate you very much. Well, thank you. I appreciate you. Okay, this guy is losing his mind in the chat. Maybe I should ban him. This guy is spamming. Oh, we have. Yeah, should I ban this guy or time him out? Pager Intifada. Pager Intifada. Intifada is coming. Yeah, okay, just block that guy. He's saying is something, just trying to connect Epstein Island to Jews. He's spamming. That's I'm not banning him because he has a crazy idea, because we like to have those in the chat. I'm banning him because he's just spamming the chat. All right, guys, I'm gonna head out. Don't forget to like the stream. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit the bell notification. After the show is over, please leave a comment. That also helps with the algorithm to get more views. Okay. All right, guys. I'm gonna head out. Love you guys. This was fun. This was very helpful, and also you guys made it fun. Diamond Encrusted Abdullah is saying, "Stop supporting Israel. Make me. You're Jesus. You said I'm Jesus. Come and make me. What are you gonna do about it, huh?" And yes, people are saying, "Oh, thank you guys." You're saying Javid Shah. Oh, Torah is putting crown emojis. You guys are amazing. Free the pagers. Oh, Torah is saying, "Armin, we love you." Well, thank you. I appreciate that. All right, guys. I'm gonna go. I want to go, but it's hard because I like you guys so much. Oh, you guys are sweet. All right. Amzral Chai, Javid Shah. Mwah. See you guys same time tomorrow. Be there. Bye.